Hi, welcome to Note 8 for Photoshop. We're going to be covering some layer tricks, some filters, and Liquify tool, which is my favorite, and then we'll also go over the solar system assignment. So let's get started. I've already opened up two files, which is angelina.jpg and brad.jpg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play with this really cool tool. It is called the Liquify tool. And one of the things I always like doing is I always like making Brad Pitt pregnant. Mainly because I am just so jealous that he is such a great actor and has had really good luck. Now, all joking aside, I really do think he's an awesome person. Some of the stuff he did, especially after Hurricane Katrina, was just amazing. What I'm doing right now is I just painted around. This is essentially a mask which just says, hey, I'm freezing you in spot. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the bloat tool. Like I said, I'm going to make him pregnant. So the first thing is, the breasts get a little bit bigger. But more importantly, the stomach. Now this is where you can play around with the size of the brush. I've got the size pretty big. I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger, just a teeny bit. And that way it bloats really well. And then as you notice, he's gotten pretty pregnant. Now, I don't think belly buttons get that big. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use the pucker tool, and I'm just going to make it a teeny bit smaller like that. So that's how you can make him extremely pregnant. Now while I'm at it, I heard a rumor that he's going out for the Wolverine spot, and I'm really jealous about that. I think that'd be a cool. Oops, wrong size. I'm using my bracket to make it smaller. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some of his hair so he looks a little bit like Wolverine. A pregnant one, but Wolverine nonetheless. And let's see what else can we do. I can give his hair a little bit more twirl up at the top, so I'm going to make it a lot smaller, and I'm also going to blow this up so you can actually see it. There we go. And there we go. Make this much smaller. So this is like a very, very powerful tool. I remember when it first came out, I was like, oh, I'm in love, especially when I can make Brad Pitt pregnant. So let's click on OK. And then I'm going to go File, Save As. And I'm going to call him Pregnant Dash Brad. And hit Save. Now the inverse is true too. If I wanted to make him a lot thinner than he already is, I could do that, but I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play with Angelina Jolie. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that Liquify again. And I am going to blow up her face, oh, even a little bit more, because in order to see some of these changes that the Liquify tool allows you to do, you need to get real close. It's such a subtle change, but it's really kind of amazing. Now where I want you to look is right around there and maybe a little bit there, but most of the changes, for some reason, I see it easier there. So I'm going to play with the eye size, and I'm just going to take it, and obviously when I link them together, yeah, look how big her eyes is. You can see them both. Now I'm going to play with eye height. You notice right around there you can see a little bit of difference. And it's amazing the little subtleties. Like when somebody's scared, you can have eye height. Your eyes tend to bug out a little bit more. Well, that's what you can do. Same way with eye size, can make them a little bit bigger. like, oh my god, I just saw a ghost or something. And then I can change each side, so like if I wanted to make like almost a subtle wink, I can do it. But it's such a small change that you won't be able to see a whole lot. There you can see the tilt more pronounced than that. And then the distance between the eyes. If you notice, you can see kind of stretching out a little bit more. But what I really think is amazing is the smile. I can come down here and play with the mouth just a little bit. So check how she's got a smile. You can see how that. So from a pretty neutral face to, yeah, I'm more interested in you because it's smiling. I can, change the upper lip a little bit, lower lip. I can do the mouth width a little bit, so you just more pronounced, especially with the smile. And then the mouth height, a little bit more spread between the lips. And then you can change the face shape. I mean, it's just truly impressive some of the things you can do with this Liquify tool. Now I'm going to hold down the Alt key and get a negative, and I'm going to come back here. Now let's say that I wanted to, you know, I sincerely don't think she needs this, just so you know, but I wanted to be able to do it, so I'm going to do a layer mask right here, and oops, nope, I'm going to do Control Z, layer mask right there, and a little bit there, and a little bit there. And what I'm going to do is I could use the forward warp, or I could try the pucker tool. I'm going to try the pucker tool a little bit so I can bring it in. And I should have brought that in a little bit. Same way down here, I can make her legs just a little bit. Now, because I didn't go far enough with that, that's why I'm having some issues right down there. There you go. I could change how her shoulders are shaped. I'm going to make that brush a lot bigger. The main thing you really need to, oops, that's smaller, is play with different sizes and how that changes everything. So a lot of times the bigger you are, and then just little tiny clicks, not a lot of clicking. There you go. So it's a really interesting tool. I mean, I literally thought I died and went to heaven when I saw that. Now the next thing I wanted to show you real quick is another program. It's an unabashed advertisement for our next class, which is Illustrator, and this is part of the Adobe Foundation certificate. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new one. I opened up it earlier. I'm going to go with Web, and I'm going to create it. Now the main reason I'm showing you this is there's some really, that's because I've got a touch sensitive screen. I've got some really cool tools in here, and the ones that I like to play with the most, there we go, yeah, libraries. So these are all the different tools that you have available. And what I'm going to do is window, and then what I want to see is symbols. And usually they have them popping up over there, but this is a new version and I haven't set it up the way I want to normally have it, so I'm going to pick up symbols. Now the difference between Photoshop and Illustrator is vector based, which means everything we do is a mathematical formula. So it scales really well. It goes from small to big with little to no distortion. And what's nice about that is I can take these vector-based graphics that they have available here and bring them and import them into Photoshop, so if I really like them. And if you want to see some really interesting symbols, that's what we got here. So if I wanted to have a keyboard, a top, a bottle, well, I can keep going through all the different symbols here. They've got some really fun ones like a tiki. Come on. Oh, and they got some really good blood spatter, some wings, diamonds, all different types of symbols. Let's see, do I have my tiki there? Click and drag it there. So if I wanted to, I could do that. I can make it bigger by transforming it. And notice it doesn't lose any resolution whatsoever. Just made it bigger. There we go. Oh, I gotta have some pie. You know, you can reshape them, make them huge, make them small. Like I said, they're all available for Photoshop. You just copy this, edit, copy, come over here. I'm going to unlock this, go edit, paste. It's going to paste it now. I can have it be pasted as a smart object, which is a very nice thing because then it hopefully keeps some of the resizing capability without losing anything. So I can just double click. There we go. And once again, if I want to change the size, I can do just a Control T. Notice it's got these crosshairs. That means that it's going to keep it and reshape it as a smart object. Notice how it doesn't lose a whole lot of resolution or gain a whole lot of resolution by doing that. And we can also do that the same thing with our pictures nowadays. That's been one of the new features of Photoshop that's just been amazing. You can take some pictures which are bitmapped, these little teeny dots, and transform them, and it doesn't lose as much resolution as you would have normally blowing something up. So that's why I wanted to show you about Illustrator, because you may want to add some different things, not necessarily for this assignment, but for maybe some other assignments. Now, of course, what we can do is we can play around with some of the blend modes. Now, this is where it gets really kind of fun. I can do different, oops, let's get that out of the way. And how I know it's a smart object vector is right there. It's not going to, watch this, I'm going to change all these, and most of them won't change at all. Oh, there we go. Some just disappear. Ooh, I like that. That's the difference. How about that? Let's try this. Now let's go back up here. Ooh, it's almost like a watermark. Well, since it's a white background, in the other one you didn't have as many different look and feels for this pie. Or we could go back to normal. Now the other thing is we've played a little bit with the opacity in some of the other ones. Notice how everything just slowly dissolves. Now watch the fill. The fill, you tend to see the inside getting lighter first before the outside. Now it will eventually go down to zero, but the outside, I don't know how to describe it any better than that. Just saying, it starts to, the opacity starts to change internally first, then outward. So you can kind of see like the outline of it. There we go. Now another thing we can do is we can add filters, and there are so many different filters that what we want to do is we want to go into the filter gallery. This happens to be my favorite, which is the stylize. But I can add a texture like that. Ooh, kind of like that one. I need to move this over just a teeny bit right over here. Now if I've got too many filters going at one time, I can delete them. Or if I want to add more filters, like I can add two filters together, white paper, and then add another and have that be glowing edges. Ooh. Not so good. So you can mix and match filters. And then just like with any other one, you can play around with the how much it distorts. Ooh, yeah. Nope. Splatter. Nope. Oop, nope. I can go artistic. So just all different types of configuration. You can go one if you have one you like and the other you just decide, nah, I don't need two filters. I can just hit the trash can right there and it deletes it away. And notice that's what we got. We got a smart filter. Or if I had multiple, since I only got one, turning this off is the same as turning this one off. And then if I wanted to come back here and play with how much I'm blending that together, then I can change it from here. That's a little icon right there. And let's see, what else did I want to go cover? Tools, solar. Yeah, the solar system assignment. This is a fun one. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be recreating these. Now I'll give you a little hint. That's two suns together blended. And then notice, the sun that I gave you's got a little extra, what is it, like a solar flare popping out. You can get rid of that or you can keep it. I don't care. Same way with this. You're going to probably want to play with the opacity a little bit to get these to look just the way they are. Now, I don't care if you change the font because I'm not a big fan of this font. I don't care if you have an extra item come in here, but I do want you to have the rings. And the rings are kind of interesting because I want to show you how to do them in just a second. But anything else you want to add, that's cool. I've had somebody add the Enterprise. I've had somebody add an alien getting ready to eat him or her, and that was always kind of fun. But don't get too cluttered. And the main thing is I want to see how these look and the positions relative to each other. The font I really truly don't care. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you how to make the rings. I'm not going to get them exact because I do want you to play with it a little bit, but we're going to go File, New. I'm not going to go Clipboard because that's a good size. I don't want 300, I want 72. There we go. Create. Oh, I hate when it does it in artboards. Okay, let's make this a little bit bigger. All right, let's do Control 0. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to use the ellipse tool. But what I'm going to do different is I'm going to try to pick that color, which is kind of maybe that color. But here's the trick. I'm going to come over here to stroke and I'm going to turn that off. And then I am 2 points. That's fine. I can maybe make it 1. It doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to do an oval. And guess what I can do with this oval? I can copy it. So I can go ring. And then I can just have a series of rings. All I have to do is remember we have that trick where we hold down the Alt key, click and drag up. It makes a copy of that ring, copy that ring, copy that ring. So I got like 4 rings now. And then I can take each ring and transform it a little bit. So I can do a Control T. And I can make this one a little bit bigger like that. And then same way. Now I can do one of 2 things now. I can use masking to make the color differences, or the other trick I can do is I can raster size this layer, because right now it's a shape, and how I know it's a shape is because of this little icon right there. So I'm going to call this ring. Oops, sorry, got to double click. I'm going to call this, it's going to be my bigger one, so I'm going to call it Saturn ring. Now what I can do is I can right click here and I can raster size a layer. Since it's a shape, I cannot do any erasing. I can do some opacity changes, but I can't do any erasing. Well, now that it's a raster size, I can delete it. Whereas if I was coming down here to this ring, since it's a shape, notice how I get a crosshair that says I can't do it. So that's one of the layer tricks that you can do. Now some of the other layer tricks, we can create a clipping mask, which we've already done. We can change it. Oh, this is what one of the other tricks I like to do is I like to color code these so I know which one's which. So I can come right here. If I want to change this color to orange, I can color the layer, and then just like before, I can create folders right here. I'm going to call it rings. Oops, come on. There we go. How I know it's inside the folders, notice how it's shifted to the right just a teeny bit, so I can bring that down here. And I missed again. Man, I am just having all sorts of problems. There we go. Normally it just goes smoothly in with me, but today it don't like me. Now the nice thing about this is, let's say that I wanted to do something to all of them. Like I wanted to have a special effect for all those rings. I could come down here and bevel and emboss, and that would apply to everything in that folder. That's what's really truly impressive. So I can apply something, and I don't have to do it one at a time, which can be kind of annoying and time consuming, especially if you're going to change something. So this is how I was able to get several rings put in at one time. Oh, come on, being annoying. There we go. I've never tried this. Can I rasterize all of them at one time? Nope. Oh, some of the other things we can do is we can link layers together, which I showed you earlier. Change the opacity. So if I'm going to do this, I can change the opacity of all those layers at one time. I can change the blend modes of all of them at one time. I can apply a filter to all of these layers at one time. So it's really a very powerful tool. So that's going to help you with your assignment. So good luck and have some fun.